welcome to the Courageous Self-Care podcast. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. On this show, we talk about self-care. I'd like to say that goes beyond bubble baths, chocolate, and wine. So some people say, what's wrong with those things, Christina? And I say nothing, as long as they're not your only self-care strategies. They tend to be Band-Aid type fixes. And if we are feeling overwhelmed or like we're running on empty or like we're people pleasing, the chocolate's just not going to solve that problem. We need to go within. We need to go deep. And that is what courageous self-care is all about. It's the stuff on the inside that creates lasting transformation rather than Band-Aid fixes. So coming up in a few weeks now is a live event that I've been working on. One of the reasons that I wanted to do this was because a core value of courageous self-care is connection. And another one is community. So it's great that we can connect online. You're listening from all over the world. That is so exciting. And at the same time, humans are craving face-to-face contact and connection more than ever. And so I thought it would be fun and valuable for people to get together in a live setting, face-to-face. Now, I know if you're across the world, you won't be able to join us. And that's why I decided to feature our speakers and some of our VIP vendors on the podcast so you can meet these amazing people and still get access to them. So today I have with me my friend and speaker and wonderful guest, Michael Finch. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christina. I'm happy to be here. This is very exciting. I'm just thrilled to see what you're doing.
Wonderful. So Michael, we have been connected for a while, but other people do not know you yet. Why don't you tell us in a few sentences who you are and what you're up to?
Okay. First and foremost, I am a business consultant with a specialization in information technology. I love technology. These days, I'm focusing on an emerging area called knowledge commerce, which to me is the practice of charging customers for access to our knowledge, either through online courses, membership sites, etc., and helping coaches and trainers convert their knowledge into digital format to sell online.
Wonderful. I've been the very fortunate recipient of your knowledge and expertise, and it has made a huge difference in my life. I am so glad that we are connected in this way. So, Michael, what are you going to be sharing specifically at the festival, and why is it important to you?
Number of answers to that. So first of all, what I want to do, on the assumption and knowledge that a lot of the people at the show are solo entrepreneurs, they're people interested in learning about self-care, and etc. And so what I want to do is open people's eyes up to what's going on in the world of online learning with this knowledge commerce and how it is just an exploding area that is so exciting. And the reason it's important to me is because coming out of the book business, which I did for many years, I met so many people, authors, that would come in and say, would you sell our book? And I'd ask them, why do you want to sell a book? And rarely did they ever say, well, it's because I want to make $1 million. They always said, it's because I want people to learn what I know. I want to share my information, my skill. And that world is changing so rapidly now. I just feel it's important for people to understand the new tools that are available that will let them reach new audiences, bigger audiences, to not only achieve their own goals in newer and better ways, but to improve their own lives as well as the lives of everybody that they're wanting to share their knowledge with. So I need them to understand those opportunities and how easy it is to do that today.
Well, I will echo your sentiments because I've been doing this kind of solo entrepreneur thing for probably about 5 or 6 years now. And when I first started, the online stuff was hard. It was not user-friendly. I needed to hire people to do it. And as technology has improved and platforms have improved and people are realizing that this is possible to get out information in an easier way, I've noticed that it's so user-friendly now, and it makes it easier to connect with people all over the world using information that I already have. And so it's just taking that leap and going to the online platform, learning the technology, and that's become so much easier in a huge part thanks to you and your information. You have just really reduced that learning curve for me.
And so there's a number of factors going on in the world that kind of reinforce what you're saying, Christina. First of all, the statistics are saying that in the next couple of years, nearly 900 million women will enter the workforce in new ways.
Wow.
So the internet is creating all kinds of new business opportunities and new opportunities for people to leave their old careers and venture out on their own in exciting ways. And you combine that with the fact that the need for knowledge in our world today is greater than it has ever been before. So put those people with the knowledge and the people out there who have the need for the knowledge and combine that with the new and easier to use fabulous tools, and you've just got a great combination for how we can get out there and teach the world what we know. It's just so exciting.
I totally agree. And I feel that really deep desire that you were talking about to share what I've learned, what's made a difference in my life. And like the authors you were speaking about, it's not, I didn't write a book to make $1 million, that's for sure.
It is not, especially today.
Yes. However, when you have your online information, you have an online course or you have a membership group where people are joining you every month so that you can teach them in a live setting, no matter where they are in the world, it not only fulfills that deep desire that I have to share my information.
Yes.
It also is producing monthly income that is really exciting.
Yes. Yes.
So I come from the traditional world of education where I was a teacher, and I definitely would have called that a job. But when I had my kids, I left that world and found a whole new world. I come from a long line of teachers, so I didn't know that this world was there, and it's taken many years to learn about it. But it's kind of the best of both worlds. I still get to teach, and then I don't have to deal with all the red tape and career stuff and even leaving my house every day and fighting traffic. It's just so I get to design my life to be the way that I want it to be, and it has made such a huge difference for the quality of my life and my family.
It's a different world.
Totally.
Yeah, very, very exciting. And people, that's why I say at this event, I just need to open people's eyes to what's going on. This is an exploding area. So they need to know about it is all.
I can feel the fireworks happening as we speak.
Nice. Well, and you said it right at the outset when you talked about the world of the podcasting and reaching people all over the world and how easy that is. This is just another form of that, another extension of that, and creating communities that have no geographical boundaries.
Right.
It's all possible.
It's very
anybody can do this.
Yes. Yes, you're exactly right. So shifting gears a little bit, we're going to move into courageous self-care specifically. So the reason that I, at the outset, decided to combine courage with self-care is I feel that the best self-care that really fulfills us involves fear. There is some sort of block or fear that's preventing us from leading the life that we envision on the other side. And when we see it as self-care, not just even personal development, but a deep, deep form of self-care, everything changes, like at a cellular level, and we do so much healing. So that's why I feel like self-care and courage go really well together, even though we might not think of it that way initially. So Michael, I'm curious, what does self-care mean to you?
There's the obvious answers to that piece, which is all about the physical part of the nutrition and sleep and exercise. and I don't want to downplay those. I am a firm believer in all those things, and I practice all those things now. And trust me, I haven't always done that. But I think more importantly, what I am seeing and learning today about self-care is more on the energetic side and the mental side, and how we view the world and how we view ourselves. And so the self-care component there is keeping the joy and passion in our day, focusing on positives, and then even trumping those things is pleasing ourselves rather than trying to please everyone else to our own detriment. And I see so much of that. I'm guilty of that myself.
Well, that's how we've been brought up, to
Absolutely.
To please other people, to do what we're told, to not rock the boat. And I totally agree with you. And I appreciate that you mentioned that there's the exercise and the nutrition and the sleep. Those are definitely important. And what I find is that when we just focus on those are what I call external self-care. They're hard. It's hard to find the discipline. It's hard to
discipline. That is the word.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when we also focus on what's going on the inside, what we can do is remove those blocks, remove the obstacles that are preventing us from taking good external care of ourselves. And so I feel the same way. Like I do move my body. I do really focus on nutrition. I do prioritize sleep. And those have become easier than ever before. It's just like a non-negotiable. I just do them because of the internal work I've done. And it wasn't always that way. It used to be really, really hard to get myself to move with joy or to eat what I know is going to nourish me.
I would say, over the last couple of decades, I have met hundreds, if not thousands of people who are in the self-care industry or in the form of healing or coaching industry. And what do I always see there is how those people can give and help everybody else, but are not good at helping and taking care of themselves and of receiving for themselves. And so there's this whole mental block that you referred to. It's hard. We're just so accustomed to giving and helping everybody else.
Yes.
What we've been taught.
Exactly. Like I was just thinking about an experience I had yesterday where my husband was seeing what I was going through. He was unhappy for me. He saw that I was suffering and he was giving me some advice. And I said, I just can't do that. It's too hard. I don't want to rock the boat. So then whenever I think those words, I can't do it, or I say those words, I go, oh, okay, that's what I'm going to do then. And so I took the leap. I set a boundary. I was literally trembling physically because it was so scary for me. And it turned out better than I ever could have imagined, which is generally the case because people tend to appreciate when we set a boundary because it gives them more information on how to treat us. And they also see, oh, that's what it looks like to set a boundary. I think I could do that too somewhere in my life.
But we tend to assume beforehand that, they're not going to like me.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get mad at me. This isn't going to have a good ending. Yes. And we convince ourselves of a bad outcome, as you say, before we've even tried it. And
yeah.
I'm the same as you. Setting boundaries has not been my strength.
Oh, the first time I learned about boundaries, I was like, what are those? I have no frame of reference for what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I think most of us are in that category. So you're not alone.
The added benefit of teaching about self-care is that I have the vision of practicing what I preach. And so I have that extra nugget of motivation. Oh, if I can get through this, then I can tell people about how well it turned out on the other side.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing your view and thoughts on self-care. I think it's really important to learn what other people think because self-care is actually a really personal thing. I've noticed by interviewing hundreds and hundreds of people. And I love to get people's definition of it and how they're living that out in their lives. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Now moving into the courage part, I always like to get my guests to stretch their comfort zones just a little bit. So we would love to hear something about you, Michael, that not many people know.
I hate this part. I hate the courage part. So I knew you were going to ask that question, and I've been thinking about how I'd answer that question. And of course, there's lots of things about me probably people don't know, but in focusing on the courage part specifically, I'll answer that this way. So as I said, for many years, my wife and I ran what I would say would be viewed in this city as a very successful and innovative and leadership bookstore in this city, all focused on personal growth and health. But I think people looked at us and said, my God, those guys are just knocking it out of the park. They're so good, blah, blah, blah. And during those years, I found it easy to talk about the store, to promote the store, to advertise the store, because it was something external to me. It was a thing, and I could talk about the thing. But today, we don't have the store anymore. I'm working as a solopreneur, and what I'm finding is that I am nowhere near as good as promoting myself and talking about myself and advertising myself as I have this stuff that you referred to, which was the fear. I try to get into that and I think, well, what am I afraid of, for crying out loud? There's nothing to be afraid of. Well, yeah, well, there is. I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of judgment, and it's more personal now.
Yes.
And that has me blocked so many times. I have so much difficulty stepping out of that. And I'm sure people are going to hear that and go, no way. He's an outgoing, extroverted guy. He can talk to anybody. Well, no, that's not quite so true.
Well, Michael, I want to honor you for sharing that. And I deeply appreciate your authenticity and vulnerability. And that is what actually connects human beings more than anything else, is when we decide to share, I don't know everything. I don't know what I'm doing. This is what I'm going through. It kind of melts our hearts for the other person. And I can so identify with where you are. I have been there myself. And in fact, I've trained with at least four other major leaders in the transformational space, trying to promote and facilitate their programs. And I had the awareness the first time I did it that, it's going to be so much easier to promote someone else than myself. And it's taken 4 trips down that same pathway to, like I said the last time to my husband, what is the message here? Why does this keep happening to me? And he said, I think the message, which is pretty clear from the outside, is you're meant to do your own thing. You're not meant to promote someone else's stuff. And as you have said, it's terrifying. It's so hard, especially with my background being a teacher. Teaching is selfless. Like, you're doing it for the good of humanity and the good of the nation. And people just show up and you get paid and you don't have to promote anything. And as soon as I even branched out of that and went into the world of even serving in restaurants, where I had to upsell gravy with French fries, I was terrified. You want gravy with that? It's going to cost an extra $1.
Yes, I know.
And I know clearly it's going to benefit, you're going to think it benefits me more than anything else, because I'll be getting 25 cents on that $1.
Yes. I think that factor, that phenomena, is what holds more people back from success than anything else. And the amazing thing when I look at that is it's in my head, no one else's.
Yes.
The number of people that I meet that say, my God, we love you. You're awesome at this. The whole world should know what you're doing because there's lots of people that need to know what you're doing. It doesn't help.
I know. What's up with that?
What is up with that? I know. You can't internalize that. It takes work to kind of just work through that mentally and say, well, it doesn't matter what the outcome is because this is what I know I need to do. This is what I want to do. And I know that I can't be out there for everybody in the world. Not everybody's going to love what I do or appreciate it or need it, but there will be enough of them that do that will be my fulfillment.
Yes. Oh, I totally agree with you. And thank you for sharing that courageously, that part of yourself. I really, really appreciate it. You're modeling excellent comfort zone stretching.
Yeah. So it's one thing for me to say.
Then there's the next step.
And then there's the next step, which I'm working on. Yes. And your event is one of the ways that I'm going to step up into that. So this has been a very good opportunity for me, not only to help some other people, but to start towards that goal myself and achieve that for my own journey. So I'm very pleased to be part of this.
Well, we are very glad to have you. And some people have had the observation, hey, most of the people at your event are women. Why do you have a man? And I say, well, all evolved men are completely welcome. Like, this event is not going to appeal to most men, but for men who are very heart-centered, who are in tune with their emotions, with their deep goals, with their, like you are, expanding your comfort zone, who know and are willing to work with both masculine and feminine energy, it's a perfect fit. So in case anyone was having that question, that is the answer. Plus, it's very valuable at women-centered events to have some men there to really ground us in the masculine energy so we don't all just flow away and fly and go into the ethers. We also need to be really grounded.
And so all of these heart palpitations and moments of anxiety I'm having, I blame you, but I still love you dearly.
Well, I'm very glad that you are having those heart palpitations.
Oh, yes.
Because it means you're growing. And if we're not growing,
yes,
we're stagnant. And
growing. Yeah.
I take full responsibility for your growth.
Yes, that's good. That's another step in our journey.
That's right. So, Michael, if people are curious about what you're talking about and they are not going to be able to come to the festival, where can they find you and learn more about this explosion of awesomeness?
So the explosion of awesomeness can be found at selfconnection.ca. Self-connection is all one word, exactly as it sounds, self and connection. The site isn't quite ready yet. It's still kind of the residue from the old bookstore, but it will be completely revamped and talk about all this new stuff here very soon.
Nothing like a deadline to make things happen.
Oh, yes. It's forcing me out of my comfort to get things done. This is good.
Yes. Wonderful. I'm so glad. So if you are curious about what Michael has to share, I just give it all the thumbs up that I have, plus gold stars and stamps and fireworks. It's amazing. I highly recommend that you go to the website, regardless of how finished it is, and check it out, because it is, if you are feeling like you have something that you've learned, you have an area of expertise, or you've come through a challenge and you don't want other people to suffer the same way that you did, you're fully equipped on the knowledge side, and then it's just getting the technology to support you.
Yep.
So go check it out.
And on there, what I do is I offer people absolutely free, no obligation consults to figure out, are you ready? What do you need to know about this? And answer any questions that you've got about your own business and the applicability of it. So I'm happy to do that. Yes.
Yeah. So there's nothing to lose with a free call. And Michael is so good at helping you learn and know and understand the technology so that you can start to dramatically shift not just your own life, but other people's lives as well.
Yep. And perhaps not everybody is quite ready for this. There's things that they need to kind of plan out and kind of get in place. But if they're not ready, I'll tell them.
Yes,
I'm not
perfect.
about to push people into something that they're not ready for.
Right. Perfect. So at the festival, if you are able to come, it's on Saturday, November 17th at Mount Royal University. And for the first 100 people, we are compiling remarkable swag bags. So with swag bags, I don't like reaching in and pulling out a whole bunch of business cards. So I said to all of the speakers and the vendors, please put in something that you would be absolutely thrilled and delighted to pull out. And so, Michael, you have a contribution that I'm really excited about. What are you going to be putting in?
And so before I answer that, I'll also say that after having been to many, 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 many events over the years, and many of these events gave out swag bags, I always just, I got to choose my words carefully here, was so kind of disappointed that I would get these coupons that would say, spend $100, but you're going to save 10.
Yeah.
That to me is not a free gift.
No.
A free gift is free.
Yes.
So another thing that people don't know is that I really love tea. And tea is one of those things on the physical side I use for my own self-care.
Mm-hmm.
It's how I take a break during my day to get away from my computer screen, to get off the phones, and I sit and I'm just quiet and I have a lovely cup of hot tea. And I'm not a fan of the processed teas that, come in boxes and wrapped up tea bags. So I buy my tea from a company called Northwinds Tea, a local girl. She imports tea from the farmers that make the tea all over the world, including China, India, Tibet, etc. She's met these people and can tell you stories about these people. So she brings in this tea, which is pure, whole, unprocessed tea right from the farmers' fields. And so I've got samples, little packages of those going into every bag. And with it, it says, have a relaxing moment on me.
Aw, I love that. And that really is, as you explained that it's imported by someone who cares about the farmers, who's met them, that is really fulfilling the core value of connection and community, those two core values of courageous self-care. So I'm so pleased that is what you've decided to put in and contribute, Michael. And I'm just so excited.
and I will say also that red rose tea will probably survive without my business.
Yes, probably.
Whereas those farmers around the world, I'm happy to support the small guys.
I love that. Thank you so much for your generosity and for that great idea.
I think it's a great idea. I hope people like it.
How could they not?
How could they not? Exactly.
So, Michael, I have really deeply enjoyed connecting with you here and sharing what you do with others. Thank you so much for taking the time to be a guest on the podcast.
And I salute you for the effort that you're going through to create these podcasts. I think podcasts and audio are a wonderful venue for people because as a guy who's discovered podcasts in the last couple of years, I love listening to audio. It is so easy. You can do it anywhere you go. When you're driving, when you're out walking, you're doing anything, exercising. It's just such a great medium. I just never used to appreciate it. So the fact that you're doing it, I think, is a wonderful thing for your customers. It's a great service, and more people need to be understanding that it's something they should be doing.
Plus, it's so much better and more uplifting than listening to the news.
Oh, is there anything uplifting about the news?
Not very often.
Not very often. No, that's a fact. So yes, positive stuff like this is uplifting, and it's part of our self-care.
Absolutely, yes. So thank you for listening today. This does count as some of your self-care practice, so give yourself a pat on the back for that. And I also want to thank you for listening. If you are local and would like to come to the festival, I would love to give you a complimentary ticket. So you can get that at selfcareticket.com. The link will be in the description for the podcast. We would love to have you. So please go ahead and access that. You'll get Michael's tea from all corners of the globe, along with so many self-care strategies, new ways of thinking about self-care, like-minded people, gathering in community. There's going to be just so many really, I want to say the word epic outcomes of attending this festival. So you are definitely invited. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks again for being here, Michael.
Pleasure. I always enjoy working with you.
Thank you. I look forward to connecting with you again next time. Bye-bye for now.